All right, so I don't think I've ever made a video for review before, so forgive this amateur video and also my messy office that I'm just moving into, so things are kind of still sitting in boxes and all over the place. All right, so here's the treadmill that I took the handlebars off of, and it's sitting with a desk that I will put in the actual written review in case anybody's interested. It's a great desk. It works perfect with this. So as you can see, I have a mat underneath the treadmill, which is generally recommended. So my only issue that I had here was these two pieces that are sticking up off the treadmill. I had been under the impression that I didn't need to leave those on, and the way that this is made, you really do have to leave it on. So, and I have a plan for how to deal with it, but for the moment, without the new pieces that I'm going to create, these have to stay on. So that also keeps me from being able to put my desk down, which is a little bit of a pain for the moment. So the treadmill is made so that it sits up off of the ground. And so here is, on this side, this is the right side mechanism for being able to lift the treadmill, which I don't know if I'm ever going to actually use it, but what I do want to do is keep it up off the ground because I don't want it to overheat. And this is the way it was made, so I don't want to, I'm already damaging the rest of it by taking the top off of it and moving the computer onto the desk, so I don't want to mess with it too much. There's also bolts that are underneath here that you wouldn't really want resting on the floor. Even with the pad that I have, I'm pretty sure they would eventually rub through the pad and murder my nice floor here, so I don't want that. But moreover, it's made that way, and I just want to be careful not to mess with it too much. So my plan, so as you can see, these two things here on the sides are a part of the structure of keeping it up off the ground. So this sits in here, there's bolts going through, and this is what is then attached to the treadmill itself. So we need this much of it right here. So there's a couple of choices. You can either cut that, or you can create something else to go in there. That's my plan. I'm gonna get a couple of blocks of oak and sand them down a bit. It doesn't have to be super pretty, but as long as it fits in there, it should be fine. And then that way it's a little nicer, and I can also save these pieces in case I want to use them in the future. So that's really important. The computer, everything was really easy to take off. Since you aren't, so there's 3 controls. Actually, I can show it to you. Let me show you the gigantic computer. So this is worth noting. The computer that goes with this thing that was on top is enormous. So it's fine on my desk because I have this convenient little spot here, but if you do not have a whole bunch of room, you might have to, wall mount it or something like that. It also is worth noting that this part's a little Fisher pricey, I'm not gonna lie, but it's also not meant to be taken off of the handlebar, so it's fine. I don't see an issue coming in with it. It's just kind of plasticky, and the action on the buttons is not great. It also does beep a lot, so worth noting. A lot of beeps happening here. So if you're in an office environment, it might not be the best, but I'm working at home. So the treadmill itself, it was easy to assemble. If you are good with stuff like that. If you're not really good with tools, and you just aren't good at recognizing parts, you might want to get a friend because you might want to tear your hair out. I'm not going to lie here. So I was able to adjust the belt really easily. The belt adjusts with just an Allen wrench that they include, and they include all the tools you need. Unless you'd like to not go crazy, then you should get a screw gun. But these 2 holes that are here adjust the belt, and there's pretty easy to understand instructions for that. The silicone that comes with it, I'm going to get something that I'm just going to go buy something with a longer nozzle because I feel like the center of the belt could use a little bit more, and I'll show you what I mean here. I'm really hoping that more silicone takes care of this. So I'm just going to set this to 1, And I have to walk on this a little awkwardly with the phone since I have the desk in the way. So this is at 1. And I hope you can hear it. But when I step down with the front foot, it slows down just a little bit. Now, I don't really notice it. Like while I'm working, it's not an issue at all. But I'm gonna put it up to 2 and just show you. You can kind of see the belt slows, and I weigh only about 185 pounds, and this is supposed to be for a max of 400 pounds. So this really shouldn't be happening. That's why I think the silicone might be an issue. All right, so you can hear that noise becoming a little bit more pronounced. Forgive my unshaven ankles here. So that's the treadmill. That's kind of how it goes. So this is it stops very, very slowly. So I guess that's good. When I had it on a very, very low speed at about 0.5, I think, I was able to be on an audio, like a meeting call. I didn't want people seeing me walk, so I haven't dared do that yet. But it was quiet enough for that. I asked if there was any extra noise, and everybody said there wasn't. So at slower speeds, it was great, and I have yet to see what this will do once I get that silicone into the middle. Hopefully I don't over-grease my machine here. I hope that this was helpful to you. I spent a very long time trying to figure out what I was going to do for a treadmill desk, and I was just trying desperately not to end up spending $3,000 between the desk and the treadmill. And this brought me in at, I think, around $1,200. It might have been even closer to $1,000. So this worked really well, and I hope if you're able to deal with all the assembly and kind of messing around with it a little bit, I hope this was helpful and that you get to do the same thing if that's what you're aiming for.
This is the error. Oh. So I can't press any of those buttons. None of those work. That shows. Can't press anything still. Let me put it back on. It recognizes that. None of the handlebar buttons work either. And I believe I've looked in the back of the console and down at the electronics down there. Doesn't look like any wires are frayed. I also took off the sides right there where the wire comes through. Doesn't look like anything's frayed there. Yeah, so I'm wondering if it's a error on the computer or if I need a new motor or what's going on.
Hell yeah. Yes. Get that workout in. Hey, hey, hey. We about to be right for the summertime period. Hey, hey.
Hey.
Giddy.
Hey.